Let us begin with Jaycee Dugard's aunt speaking out for the first time. Natalie Morales is here with details. Natalie, good morning to you.
And good morning, Meredith. That's right. The Dugard family for the past few days it's been about reconnecting with Jaycee and getting to know her two daughters. Jaycee's aunt Tina Dugard spoke to the Orange County Register about the emotional reunion and says that despite everything that has happened, Jaycee and her girls are happy.
When Tina Dugard laid eyes on her niece Jaycee for the first time in 18 years, the two immediately recognized each other. Tina describes Jaycee as a beautiful 29-year-old woman and says her two daughters, 15-year-old Starlet and 11-year-old Angel, are educated and bright, with their mother's blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and big smile. Jaycee's aunt told the Orange County Register there's a sense of comfort and optimism, a sense of happiness. Jaycee and the girls are happy. Tina, Jaycee, and her two girls spent 5 days together, during which Tina says the girls played video games and drew pictures. Jaycee read a lot and talked about recent movies, saying she wanted to see the Sandra Bullock movie, The Proposal. Her aunt didn't ask Jaycee what life was like for her and her daughters in the tent compound set up in the Garridos' backyard, saying people probably want to think that it's been this horrible, scary thing for all of us, but then adds, the horrible, scary thing happened 18 years ago and continued to happen for the last 18 years. The darkness and despair has lifted. She would say that while in captivity, Jaycee was able to teach her daughters to read and write. She says, it's clear they've been on the internet and know a lot of things. One of the girls pointed out constellations to Tina one night while they were staring at the sky. But for now, Jaycee's aunt says it's all about reconnecting.
Tina Dugard says Jaycee's daughters have not been allowed to watch the media coverage surrounding their mother's kidnapping, but they are aware of what has been going on. And she added, I may never know what happened, but she's home. But Meredith, clearly they all have a long road ahead of them.
A lot of time, yeah, to take to heal. Natalie, thank you so much.
Sure.
We're going to bring in criminal profiler Pat Brown. Pat, good morning to you.
Good morning, Meredith.
So you've heard what Jaycee's aunt has said. She said that since they've been reunited, there's been a sense of comfort and optimism, a sense of happiness. Jaycee and her girls, according to the aunt, are happy. Does that surprise you?
Not really. I mean, we're all focusing on the real negatives, Meredith, and the horrors that we would experience in those 18 years. But they have now gone to a nice place. You know, they see a beautiful home. They see happy people. I mean, I'm sure they're shell-shocked, and I'm sure they've got a lot to deal with. But they're reunited with people that they do feel a bond to, because it has been there at one time. And you know how sometimes when you meet with somebody you haven't seen in 10 or 20 years, you just have the automatic, something is a connection there, and all the years just fall away. I think there's a bit of that. Now, of course, this is a bit of the honeymoon period, and we're going to see after the honeymoon period, then the reality will set in, and that will be a little bit more to deal with.
I don't know. I think I would assume that they would be severely traumatized, but to listen to the aunt, the Jaycee taught them to read and to write, and the aunt's a teacher, and she said, you know what, to me, they strike me as really normal kids. So what does that say about the resiliency of Jaycee and her daughters?
Well, there's a lot of it there. And we have to remember that we're looking at it from the outside, and we're thinking of everything as awful. What the aunt is trying to tell us is there were 24 hours a day were not awful for these kids. They were in there, they were interacting with each other, they were doing things. And now I homeschooled all three of my children all the way through to they went to college. So I didn't keep them in the backyard, but my children grew up with me as their mother homeschooling them. So these children were homeschooled, and I can tell you, a whole day at home is not an awful thing. We did a lot of reading and writing, and we read literature, and we had a good time playing games and all kinds of things. They did not go to school. So these girls were not necessarily harmed in that way. Now, the relationship with the captor was one issue that was terrible, and of course the fact they couldn't get out of that one little location is horrible for 18 years. I can't imagine that. But the aunt is trying to say not all 24 hours a day were awful, so these children didn't live like they were, they didn't have anything. So she said, look at the positives there. Some of these things that happened in there were some good things that happened too, and we have to focus on them.
Right now the aunt is saying they're not talking about what happened, no questions are being asked, and they're not offering any information. They're playing board games, they're watching movies, they're spending a lot of time just together holding hands. It is about reconnecting, according to the aunt. Is that the right idea at this point, that that's what they need to do?
Absolutely. I mean, they don't want to start off with saying your whole life is a sham. 18 years have been garbage. That isn't true, and that's what the aunt is trying to say. Later on, they'll when they're trying to reconnect with the world and trying to deal with what happened in the past, that's where the therapist will come in and help them through that. But you don't want to sit there and say, that's all it was about. No, what it's about is that we love you, you're here, you're healthy, you can do things, you have talents. We appreciate those talents in you. We're not thinking of you as animals. We're thinking of you as wonderful human beings, and they're starting off on a good foot. And I really think that the mother and the aunt are doing the right thing.
All right, Pat Brown, thank you very much.
Thanks, Meredith.
And we wish that family all the best.
Sure
They've
do.
got some tough days ahead of them.